This is Colette from The Collective, and I'm doing a reading today, like a behind the scenes of your childhood. And the reason why I'm doing this is I kind of want to help people that don't remember their childhood, but I'm also, if you do remember your childhood, please, if anything resonates, take it for you, or take it for you. But yeah, I kind of want to see what trauma you experienced in your childhood that maybe needs to come to the surface that you don't remember, or that maybe you just weren't aware of and didn't see it as something that was harmful, but it is harmful for you today. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So I feel like I have to say trigger warning, because I'm sure there's going to be things that come out that aren't pleasant, because I was talking about trauma, right? So growth, that's really good. But I do want to also say that just as a reminder, and this is especially important because this is a collective reading, that you really have to take what is resonating for you, okay? Maybe you won't resonate with all of it, maybe just one thing, or maybe there are a lot of things you resonate with, which is fine, but just make sure that you're not trying to make something that that doesn't fit, okay? The Fool. Really good energy so far with the shuffling. We'll see what comes out though. But what I want to say is interesting, Three of Wands, opportunity, is that I have not used this deck in a very long time. And actually yesterday I tried to record and I got like a quarter of the way through and realized it wasn't recording. And my business phone is an iPhone and I can't figure out, because it wasn't recording again today, I can't figure out what's going on there. So if anybody has any tips, let me know. So I had to pull out my own phone to record. But I used a different deck yesterday and I picked this deck today. The High Priestess, again, really fucking amazing energy. I feel like this is your energy for sure. You've got a really high vibe, and opportunities might be coming your way. Just as a side note, that has nothing to do with the reading, which is really good. Maybe you were starting off on a high note, maybe. Oh boy. Let's see. Yeah, maybe some good things are going to come out of this reading here. Queen of Swords, okay. Well, I mean, obviously, my intent with my readings is that something good will come out of it. Obviously, I'm here to help you. Oh, interesting. But maybe there's, good energy that will come out too. That's what I was trying to say. Oh, the Fool was upright while we were shuffling, and then it showed up in the reverse. And there's a lot of major arcana coming out. Look at that, another major arcana. This wanted to go here, I think. So that means change is coming quickly for you. Maybe you're, interesting. Maybe your, relational connections are going to change for the better. Or maybe you're cutting people off, or 2 4s, 8 of Cups. Look at walking away. So you might be cutting people off from your family. Well, I did want to put that there. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, 10 of Swords, stabbed in the back. It feels like carrying too. I know that's kind of more like the Wands energy, but maybe blame is a thing that you were given when you were younger. You got blamed for a lot of stuff that wasn't your fault. I'm seeing look at another major arcana. Holy shit. I'm seeing a parent that doesn't take responsibility for 3 of Cups. That's good energy. Knight of Wands reverse. That came out yesterday. A lot of these cards are new that are coming out today. This is very interesting. I'm seeing a parent that doesn't take responsibility for their actions, or there's no accountability whatsoever. None. So we've got like, it feels like kind of a mixture of feminine and masculine energy. So for some of you, it was your mother, some of you, it was your father. I'm getting the sense with this Queen of Swords here that your mother probably wasn't very nurturing. So you're going to have to resonate with that. See, like maybe you had a nurturing mother, but maybe your father wasn't nurturing. Maybe your father, his feminine energy was a lot like the masculine energy. So the masculine isn't as soft usually. Yesterday we saw the King of Cups, so that's soft masculine energy, but the Queen of Swords is very direct. It's like a sense of, this is what you're going to do. I'm going to teach you like how to live your life and rules and that sort of thing, but I'm going to do it from a logical place instead of a emotional space. And I don't even think like there's a lot of air right here, but I don't even think your parent or parents, maybe you have both of them being in this energy. What was I going to say? Oh, they don't have to be air signs. They could be, any kind of sign, but they're acting from a logical place. And then we've got Aquarius over here. So that's another, I don't know what the Wheel of Fortune is. That's another air sign right there, or air energy. The Wheel of Fortune, well, the strength is fire for sure. Jupiter. This is water. I want to look at this because this is really interesting. Jupiter Sagittarius, so that's another fire sign. There's fire right here. There's fire here. So fire and air, and that's actually interesting because yesterday a lot of fire came out. There wasn't, I think the Queen of Pentacles came out in reverse. So that's like something that's a mother that's not nurturing, or a father, like I was saying, but it feels more feminine in nature. You could have had a feminine father, I don't know. But, with the fire and the air, like that doesn't feel very good to me, because that's like, you've got logic and it feels like intensity with that fire, especially with these reverse cards. So, you might have had a very intense parent who might have been loud or yelling kind of loud. And then you might have had kind of a passive other parent that was not, was kind of numb because of the other parent being kind of intense. Now, this feels to me, trigger warning, and I don't know really how I can put it. This seems to me like a harmful, like obviously the feminine energy is harmful too, because they're coming from a space of like trying to, like the survival mode, trying to survive. And maybe they weren't even with somebody who was harmful verbally or physically, but it feels like some of you probably have that kind of case. You could have, even because you had this experience with this parent, you could have gone on to verbally, mentally, physically harmful relationships with romantic relationships, because of the result of having this kind of blunt and straightforward parent. But if you experience that intensity from like your masculine figure, it feels more masculine in nature. That might have also been obviously due to your romantic relationships, like how they turned out. I feel like a lot of you could be on the other side of it, and maybe you're not experiencing that kind of relationship now, romantic relationship, because you learned how to stand your ground. But if you're still kind of going along with those types of relationships, just know you're going to get out of it, okay? It'll just take time to know your worth and really understand that it's cycle based, right? This card feels like it wants to be seen. Two of Wands, picking a different path. Yeah, you're picking a new path. You don't want to do the same thing that your parents did, and That's a really good thing. I do also feel like for some of you, your parents might have been split up when you were younger, or like it just didn't feel like they were together for you. Like maybe one parent was, it feels like maybe you had an absent parent, or they were together but living different lives kind of thing, which obviously is not helpful for you, because it showed you that relationships are kind of like transactional, instead of about connection. You probably felt really disconnected to your family, even if you had siblings, because of what was created in your home. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, that makes sense to me too. There's like a sense of wanting community, but you weren't getting it at home. You had to find it in other places. Or even when you were younger, maybe you thought that was normal, so you weren't really looking. My birds are really chirping right now, so that's definitely a confirmation. But maybe as a child you weren't really looking for that because you thought this was normal, and now you're kind of recognizing. And I feel like a lot of people didn't have a normal childhood. I mean, no childhood is perfect. Parents do the best they can with what they've got, what they were taught, right? And I'm not condoning any kind of harmful things or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, it's generational. That's exactly what I mean. So you're like, I don't want to live this life. I'm going to pick a different path now. And that's beautiful. Congratulations to you. And it's hard, but you do deserve better than you got at home for sure. I used a different deck yesterday, but I'm being called to this deck. So whatever, we're going to go along with what Spirit wants. And that's that. We're going to go where we're directed, which is what you're doing. Water and Aries. Ooh, that wants to go here. Intensity. Aries is intense. And I was thinking about Aries. For some reason, I was thinking Aries was going to come out here. And I already know, like I said, strength is Leo. But I thought maybe the Wheel of Fortune was Aries and it was Sagittarius. So I'm glad that Aries came out, because when I think of intensity, I think of Aries. More air. Stop. I love you guys, but you got to keep quiet. Right? They think it's a game now. That's funny. Well, there might have been some games being played at home that were not good games. The not good kind. Like maybe there's a lot of hiding for you. A feeling of needing to hide because of the like tension and things going on at home that didn't feel good to you. I definitely feel like there's probably people watching this video who might identify with the Hermit card. You don't have to be Virgo, but it's like a withdrawal because it feels safer. Like you might have felt like you were on your own because because of the lack of connection at home. You could be different from your family. It doesn't have to resonate with the scenario I was talking about with like the mother and the father. But you might have had a different point of view and didn't feel like you can share that. Like you didn't feel comfortable or safe sharing that. So you probably spent a lot of time alone. I'm actually surprised the Hermit didn't come out, because like I'm really feeling that strong energy of like, I don't want to be here. Like this is uncomfortable. Like at a young age you felt that. Like I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. And there's definitely a sense of like your throat chakra that came out heavy yesterday. And because I chose this deck, like I'm not seeing, like I do see blue obviously, but like a water card would be probably more blue, like the moon. Well, the deck that I used yesterday would definitely be like a blue card. But there was like blue all in a row. This one's kind of blue, but that throat chakra, and there's a blue card sticking out right here. I want to see what this is. The throat chakra is definitely the High Priestess in reverse. That's water. That's Pisces too. Yeah, you guys are very intuitive. But yeah, the blue is all about the throat chakra. So you have throat chakra suppression. Hopefully you're working on that, like sharing your voice and speaking your voice. This is the third 4 I'm seeing. 4s, I don't really know what they represent, honestly. Might have to look that up. The Hermit, shut the fuck up. There it is. There's the Hermit. We're going to leave that on top because I'm really feeling that. Hopefully I remember the Knight of Wands. I'll put him right underneath the Hermit. 5 of Cups, yeah. Yeah, there's a sense of like, because of what you were lacking at home when you were growing up, there's a sense of feeling that now, even if that's not the case. Like you're looking at this one cup like you want it, but you've got these 4 other cups that have things in it. There's always a sense of loss. And I feel like it's because you really felt lost when you were younger. Like you didn't know how to navigate life. Like that's something you didn't learn from your parents. And, you know, because they didn't probably know how to navigate life, you kind of were lost for a while. But I feel like you're finding your way, you know, like that's a lot of the introspection and kind of keeping to yourself and, you know, figuring shit out on your own. Like you've had to do that for a long time. And I'm proud of you. That's not easy. But I want you to kind of consider how far you've made it and that you actually have things to be excited and grateful about, even if it doesn't feel that way right now. A gratitude list might be important. So Queen of Swords, I almost said Queen of Cups because we saw that while we were shuffling, with Justice, balance right there, and 3 of Cups is celebration. And then we've got House 10, Owl. Owls are very, very intelligent. I feel like you have a strong intellect, like a high intelligence. Could be emotionally intelligent, but it could also be just that you're intelligent. Like you see things from a different angle. Like owls sit up high, you know, like you have a way of looking at things like on both sides, especially with this justice, like fairness, right? You might have learned that from childhood of like things having to be fair. Like maybe your father or mother had like really high morals and they taught you those. So like you look at things black and white, but maybe you're trying to expand on that and have a new perspective of life mission, structure, discipline, accomplishments, and career. See, I didn't even see that. So yeah, you came from kind of like if you resonate with this, a militant home where like things had to be a certain way. And like this Queen of Swords feels very organized and perhaps even like really cleanly, like cleanliness, maybe expected you to like almost anal, like keep things a specific way. And so you were like a little mini adult because you lived in a home that was like, well, these are the rules and I don't care if you're a kid or not, you got to abide by them. So, you know, who cares about fun? Don't get dirty. You know what I mean? Conjunction, a union, merging and coming together. That's beautiful. You might have found a new group, a new family. Maybe like you love your family, okay? Like maybe you feel like still not super connected to them, or maybe you found some kind of connection with them, but you feel safer in spaces where people accept you as you are. And I feel like you didn't get that at home for sure. Sorry, I'm trying to get a drink of water here. And you know, you can look at your life like growing up and seeing it and saying, yeah, that wasn't fair. But I don't want you to hold on to that. Like, get it out in therapy, get it out with your friends, but don't stay stuck in like, woe is me energy, because that's not for you. Like, it's a learning experience for you, and of what you're not going to do if you have kids, or what you're not going to do if you don't have kids, and you know you have nieces, nephews, whatever. Like maybe it's a teaching lesson. Maybe you're a teacher now for kids, and maybe you can show them a way of being that's softer, like a more nurturing. Because I feel like your energy is definitely softer. You might still be, because you're a high intellect, you could be an air sign. You don't have to be, or you have air in your chart. Although you don't have to be an air sign to be smart, but I feel like there's high air energy coming from this group, and at home too, even if they weren't air signs, right? So, but you have softness, and I feel like you put it out there for people, even though you didn't get that growing up. So that's really beautiful. You might have somebody in your family, it doesn't have to be immediate, that was softer to you, and that they kind of showed you an example of like what, how you can be different, like how you can accept that you're different and you want to do different. So then we've got the Wheel of Fortune reverse, Strength reverse, Justice upright, Mutable, Surrender, Fluidity, and Welcoming change. Leo, self-confident, loyalty, and creativity, sorry. Yeah, the Strength card really has been sticking out to me this whole time. And I feel like whatever happened at home for you, there's probably a lot of different scenarios. So, and I'm not going to try to tap into that. You'll have to figure that out. But there's a sense of insecurity, a strong insecurity. In the Wheel of Fortune reverse, like not feeling like things go your way. And if things don't go your way, you feel like you're not worthy, or that you didn't do enough, or like there's a sense of control. And I feel like it stems from this mother figure or this feminine figure that, I feel like she was insecure too, or is, and on the defense. So like she might have projected that onto you, and now you like have trouble being in the flow. Like she's definitely feels like a control freak, especially with what I was just saying over here. Like, oh, you got to be cleanly, and this is the most important thing, are these rules. But you could, like, being a kid was actually the most important thing, or whatever she was doing. Like you could have been like a therapist to your parent, your mother, or whatever. I just feel like there's a sense of not, like, this group feels older than they should have been when they were younger. That's the best way I can put it. But you've always been trying to find that balance, but it's very hard for you to do that, because you feel like every time you get confident, every time you show that strength side of you, that bravery, that loyalty, that's Leo, right? Self-confident, somebody tears you down. And you need to start looking at that as a strength, because that is telling you that people see in you what you're capable of doing, but you have yet to see that. And it makes sense, because you don't have to be creative, but I feel like a lot of you have like creative kind of side hobbies, or maybe that's your main thing. Like maybe you're into the arts, maybe you show creativity in your work, maybe you're a digital promoter, or I don't know what they call those people, but like maybe you do for your job, like creative, like digital work, marketing. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. But the creativity was stifled as a child, from what I'm saying over here. Like, okay, you're a mini adult, so anytime you try to tap into that creativity, maybe your parents didn't put you down, but maybe there wasn't a lot of encouragement for creative endeavors. Or maybe you didn't know how to tap. I feel like that's wrong, because I feel like kids are so creative and intuitive. Like that's why we're seeing like the High Priestess, even if it's in the reverse. That's like not trusting your intuition or not trusting your gifts. I'm going to give you an example. Actually, when I was younger, I used to write songs, and I never shared them with anybody. I just wrote them. I wrote lyrics, right? And then when I got to be an adult, I thought about, man, maybe I should try that again. But I was terrified to do it because I was worried about failing. I was worried that I wouldn't be good enough, or, whatever, control freak nature. And then I had this terrible breakup and I could not get over this person. So I started writing. Like, I just said, you know what, I gotta get this on paper. And I wrote a song for the very first time as an adult in like a day. And I recorded it, and it's got a great hook. And I was like, see, like, why did you wait so long to tap into that? That's like, you're good at that, right? But there's a fear that went along with it where I was like, insecure about it. What if I'm not good enough? What if, the strength wasn't there? Like, what if people hate it? Like, who cares? It's what I'm creating. So, you might identify with something with that, like feeling like you're afraid to fail if you do creativity, any kind of creative endeavor, and you can't fail at creativity. Like, you just can't. It's not possible, because anything you create is art, and, you have a chance to really tap into it and get like really comfortable with it. So you should try to do that if you're not being creative, okay? So then we've got the Fool reversed. I pointed to this. These two are really connected. And I felt that before this card fell out. So the Fool reversed, the Four of Swords reversed, Ten of Swords was upright, right? Yep, Ten of Swords upright. Aries, independent, bravery and passion. Water, spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. See? Yeah. So I feel like a lot of you learned from your father that intense energy, but like suppressed it because you're afraid of what it might look like outside of that, like because of how your father was. But I feel like you really need to embrace that energy. And you don't have to be an asshole, just like, hitting a punching bag, or writing a song, or writing down like what you're mad about. Like, don't suppress any kind of anger, because it can turn into rage, and that is not healthy. Okay. So, and I get it. There's things from childhood, like with your parents, that you don't like what they did. And like, I'm going to give you another example. My father, when I was younger, especially, was an alcoholic. That's how I view it. Maybe other people don't view it that way, but I know, other people in my family do. And he wasn't very present, right? And instead of drinking, I went the complete opposite and did not actually get drunk until I was like 30. And I was afraid of, like, this is a good thing, but also it's kind of like everything in moderation, right? I was afraid that I would get addicted, like my father. So I went the extreme to not drink. Like, I'm not going to drink. And I know somebody else who did the same thing, actually, because their one parent had a problem with substance abuse. So, that's kind of the idea here. It's like, okay, well, I have some traits of my parents that I feel like are wrong, but if I find balance, I can embrace them. And I'm not saying like it's okay that your parent was like a rage monster, or, yelled at people. Maybe you made you feel bad about yourself. Like, that's where maybe the insecurity came from. But what I'm saying is, like, it's okay to be angry. Don't get mad at yourself for being angry. Like, that's healthy. Everybody gets angry. Like, don't make yourself a villain, because, like, that's the right and wrong thinking. There is a gray area in there, right, where you can be angry and it's still healthy. But you got to get it out in order to. That might be a creative thing you could do. Because I feel like a lot of people are probably going to resonate with what I was just saying. So, the Fool reverse is kind of like, okay, I've got an opportunity, or I've got something I want to do, but I'm not taking that leap. And part of it might be like, you're not resting enough. You're not feeling confident or whatever because you haven't rested, given yourself permission to rest. And it's partly because of this Ten of Swords where you're just like, man, if I do this thing or if I go forward, who's going to come in and stop my success? Or who's going to come in and take my idea? Or who's going to come? You know, there's all these what ifs scenarios going on in your head, and it's stopping you from doing what you want. And I needed to hear that myself. Like, I am so afraid of success and in every part of my life, because what if it gets stripped away? And like, that's something you're used to, and that's something I'm used to. But what if it's different this time? You know, like, don't let the devil come in and tell you any different, because, you know, any kind of reaching for success that you're doing, any kind of steps you make toward that is success. And, you know, maybe there will be some people that have something to say about it, or might try to take some of your spotlight. You probably experienced that as a child. Maybe because I feel like there's just something about you that's really unique and special. And so people felt threatened by it and still do. So you might have people that say things and whatever, but do you really care? Like, sit with that. Do you actually care what other people think now? All that matters is, like, you believe in it and you believe in yourself. So do the fucking thing. Like, stop doubting yourself because of your past, you know, because of how you grew up. So you might have not found encouragement when you were younger, or if you did get encouragement, maybe it came with a price or a toll, or maybe it came with like excitement from your parent because you're doing this thing that they like that you're doing, but maybe you didn't feel like you wanted to do it. You were forced into it or something like that. That feels like something that could be a thing with some people. Or just maybe you know, people were stealing your success and like taking your spotlight. That's as simple as that. And you're like, okay, who's going to take my spotlight now? Well, they can't, because you're in your power with this Aries and Leo. Like, you're just standing very strong in your convictions and you know what you want now. So stop stalling and go for it. Spirit is saying. So then we've got the Four of Wands reversed with Seven of Wands upright. Mercury, think, learn, network, and communicate, And then Jupiter, grow and expand. And Jupiter was Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's like there's non-committal. Like you're kind of like in between. Like you're like gung-ho about it, but also, like, I was just talking to my friend Catherine about this, like, you're taking steps, right? But you're not actually taking that leap. So the lack of commitment is coming from the insecurities, the childhood, the not feeling good enough or worthy, or like the black and white thinking, like, I have to do X, Y, Z in order to deserve this. Or like, I definitely feel that a lot of you probably felt like you could not get approval from your parents. That's definitely a thing. So you're kind of like tiptoeing or waiting for that thing that's gonna really feel like a transformation or a big, like, maybe you're like me, you're a creator and you're waiting for that viral video. Like, that's not a sign of success. Like, you committing to the things you love is the sign of success. There's a lot of, like, I keep talking about success, so there's a lot of wounds around success. Like, your parents could have been competitive, even towards family. Maybe one of your parents put a high expectation on you, so like you're striving all the time. Like, I definitely feel that's a strong thing. Maybe you've been caught off guard a lot with your family, and there's unpredictability. So like, especially if you have a parent who's like harmful in any kind of way. You just always felt like you had to stand guard, and you had to plan and really get your ducks in a row before you do something. But like, I feel like and you should be an adult. If you're here, you're an adult, you're your own person, so you don't have to rely on anyone else to, like, the tools that you were lacking growing up because your parents didn't share knowledge with you or didn't have it themselves. Like, I feel like you had probably an immature parent emotionally, and maybe they had life figured out in the sense that they made money, they saved, they did all that, but they don't know how to navigate life like with people. So like, you probably felt really lacking there, like people tools, and had to learn that yourself. But it's hard to trust people because you like were never taught what that looks like by your parents, like what good friendship is or what a good relationship is, because I'm getting the sense that there's so much like falseness going on at home. Especially like I said, there's masculine energy, but we've only got a queen here. Where's the king? So, you might have had a mother who talked bad about your father. Maybe he was bad, but we don't talk about that with our kids, right? So maybe you witnessed, like maybe your mother was very dominant, right? And just thought, like, I'm the boss of the show, and like kind of downplayed your father, right? Like she was the head of the household or something. Maybe there was something about that. So now you're kind of feeling that too, and maybe it's affecting relationships with men, or like maybe your mother had a bad view of men and tried to pass that on to you, so you're trying to learn how to navigate like what real love looks like in love relationships. Even like maybe you have a partner and you're noticing like your mother's point of view kind of bleeding out into your relationship. I'm getting the sense the going alone might have came from the mother kind of feeling like she was alone. So maybe your father wasn't super emotional, or maybe she just felt that and it wasn't the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's very weird because there's like opposing energies, and I feel like you are very perceptive. Like that owl, I feel like you've always been perceptive, and you saw through the bullshit at home, and it really fucked you up. Like, I'm sorry, like point blank. It just, your whole view on life and what you thought was normal, you're seeing through other people, was really not normal at all. Like the complete opposite of normal. We're just going to pretend all the time. You might be a daydreamer even because you had to go to a different space because whatever reality you were living in didn't feel good to you. Like it didn't feel real. Like you felt like there was another, like maybe you felt like you had another life, or there should be another life. Like you felt there was something wrong when you were a child, but you didn't know what it was. And, if you're living in a home with two people who are not connected emotionally, like maybe it's just physically, or sorry, I know that's gross, physically, like the passion, right? The wands, the passion's there, but we don't communicate well. It's like, okay, what is this? Why is this a thing? Like, I want to be loved. Like, you've always felt you wanted to be loved, but you weren't getting the kind of love you needed when you were younger. That's definitely a thing. I feel like a lot of people will resonate with that. So then we've got the Eight of Cups with the moon reversed and Aquarius. Originality. See, you're very different, I'm telling you. Philanthropy and progress imagings. I love that for you. I feel like you're starting to trust your intuition more. You still might be afraid of the unknown. The moon is like what isn't being, what's hidden for you. But there is a sense of kind of walking away from the idea of who you were. I feel like you probably resonate with the fact that you spent most of your life trying to fit in because you felt so different, and because your parents projected onto you, this is what it's supposed to look like, this is what love is supposed to look like, this is what you're supposed to look like. I don't know why I didn't have this up, that's weird. What was the bottom of the deck? Radically change Uranus. Yeah, you have done a lot of growing for sure, and it's like, okay, I don't think I'm down with this version of me anymore because this is never who I was. I'm walking away from the certainty, and I'm going to just change my life completely, and I don't have to abide by your rules. I really feel like rules are heavy. Like, a lot of people are going to resonate with that. Like, this is how it is. This is how it always has been. And if you think about the generations that came before us, they definitely had a mindset of, they hid things under the rug, what I've been talking about. And it's definitely a sense of like, this is how it goes, and I don't want to change. I don't want to change. And it's okay for you to walk away and say, like, maybe some of you even walked away from your parents, or you're debating about it because you're like, I can't stand this sternness to life. Like, I just want to go with the flow. And maybe that's always been hard for you because of the values of your upbringing, the traditions of your upbringing. And like, I totally feel that and get that, and you're not alone. And it sucks. That really sucks. I'm going to pull cord cutting cards, and then I'll pull a couple of what is it? The Dead Inside deck. I was like, Inside Out? No, that's not right. I would swallow my pride, I would jump on the line. That's a good song. I like that song. Stress Cloud Solutions. Yeah, so with the rigidity of like the mother figure, you probably picked up on a lot of that. So like, you might be an overthinker, an overachiever, like you try to overachieve. You're the golden child, most likely. Like, a lot of pressure on you. So you've got a lot of stress, and you're carrying a lot of stress still. And you carried stress as a child. You got to let that shit go. See, I'm telling you, the 10 of Swords, get active, get moving. The 10 of Swords is like, okay, the 10 of Wands is carrying shit, but I'm telling you, it's like all these wounds that have been put into you, you're carrying, and it feels like it's for other people, and you shouldn't be doing that. Like, it's other people's karma. I don't know why you had to carry that. Take a healing shower, create a peaceful space. See, let that shit go. It's not yours. Take your power back, stand your ground. Yeah, a lot of you are finding your voice with your family. You might have felt intimidated or scared by this figure, but definitely if you had a masculine figure like being harmful, obviously you would have a trouble, getting your voice out. But I feel like this mother, be honest with yourself, I feel like this mother figure definitely had some kind of control over you. Like, you were her puppet, and you're trying to find your voice now. I don't know why I said that. That's 2 7s right there. And there's another 4. There's 4 4s. Wow. Hopefully I remember to put, I always forget about the numbers. So you are making progress, even if it doesn't feel like that. Okay. And because I was talking about like letting go a parent, maybe you're not being completely honest with yourself how bad the connection is. So I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You have free will. You're going to do what you want. But, if you've been debating having a conversation, or putting your foot down, or maybe setting some boundaries, maybe taking a step back for a little while, walking away for a little while, do it. Like, I feel like this person or these people, the parents, they're not going to change. Like, they are who they are, and acceptance is a first step towards healing. And you might be in a space where you're kind of accepting, like, this is what it is. And I mean, the fact that the mother, I just keep going back to the mother. I feel like the mother, for some reason, was more damaging than the father. And I'm only getting like that scenario. I'm not really getting any kind of different dynamics than what I shared in the beginning. And like, I've been really hyper focused on this type of mother and the intensity of the father. I'm not seeing really softness anywhere. So that definitely is harmful for you as a child. You need softness. And, you know, maybe you had a stuffed animal or a regular animal that you leaned into, like you were like craving that so hard. So I really hope you're finding softness in your life, in your relationships. And I feel like you are, and that's beautiful. Keep doing it. All right, let's lighten up the mood. Good Lord. I mean, it wasn't actually as heavy as the one I was doing yesterday. And I got, like I said, a quarter of the way through and I was like, fuck. And I thought about keeping it, but I'm like, there's something else that's meant to come out. So, you know, maybe I'll do this reading in a year and it'll come out with the other stuff. I don't know, but she never replied. And there's no harm in taking a break from shadow work, okay? It's a lot. Crying in the shower and even your spirit guide quit. See, you need like self-betrayal. What the fuck is this card? You need a break from healing. You've done a lot, okay? It's not for you to fix everything, that Ten of Swords. You knew it. You knew, you ignored it. See, you might be living a cycle with your mother right now or a parent that you like, things feel good for a while and then, I'm just going to do this. Things feel good for a while and then it's like, it feels bad again and I don't know why. It's that acceptance piece is really important because you're like looking for a different result, but this parent is never going to give you a different result. I'm sorry, plain and simple. Resistance, procrastination. You might be procrastinating on things that you want to do. Like I was saying about the creativity, not this. You're not procrastinating on that. I'm telling you, unless you know you got to do something, what I was saying, and even writing a letter, maybe you don't give it to your parent. You could write it to both parents or whatever, like, especially if there was a split, I feel like you need to write something down about like not feeling supported, or both. I mean, I feel like a lot of you probably resonate with not feeling supported. Write that down. That's huge. As a child, you should be. Like, number one, support is important. Ghosted again, seen, never replied, rejection, silence, confusion. A lot of you might have an absentee parent that like gives you breadcrumbs and then disappears, or it could be emotional, right? I'm going to give you emotional breadcrumbs and then I'm going to take them away. It doesn't have to be a physical not being there. It could just be a actual presence lacking thing. Like, I'm here, but I'm not here. Like, somebody could be, one of your parents could be like present in your life, or you're like hanging out together, but like they can't get on a deep level with you. They just can't do it. They don't have it in them. No thoughts, just vibes. Disassociation, emptiness, floating. Yeah. For some of you, disassociation feels really big. That's kind of like shutting out the reality, or see, like the daydreaming I was talking about, like, or shutting out these aspects of your parents that you don't want to deal with, okay? Or yourself even, like that spiritual work, like, oh, I know I really got to address this, but I'm going to focus on this instead. You know what I mean? Laughing through the pain, humor as a shield disguise. Yeah, don't pretend like everything's fine if it's not. Share it with people. Even share it with your parent. I know it's hard, but be like, listen, I had a bad childhood and this is why. I mean, they're responsible for their part. And if they don't talk to you, that's on them. I mean, they made that choice to not be there for you when you needed them, right? And you probably, a lot of you probably took care of your parent. I'm telling you. Or parents. I keep pointing at the queen because she's the only one here. Like, there's not a male figure that I can point at. But I think a lot of the damage is here. That's what I'm saying. You knew it. You ignored it. Self-betrayal. There is a lot of, I wanted to talk about that. There's a lot of self-betrayal here. And it's a conditioning thing on the fact that you had to put your parents' needs above your own. So you got to stop doing that in your relationships. That's something you really need to work on. If you work on anything, it's like, don't try to fit in or try to do something you think is going to gain you love or worth or anything, because you're worthy without any of that. So you might be codependent. You might have had a codependent parent, and you'll have to kind of look that stuff up. Codependency feels like a big thing. I didn't pick it up earlier, but the self-betrayal feels like codependency. And you might have created that in your relationships. I've told you this a million times. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 5 years. And when we, like, maybe within the first couple of years or even the third year, I was still codependent. I was working on that really hard. It's not something that goes away quick because it's ingrained in you. And a lot of things that you picked up from your parents, like, again, same thing, they're ingrained in you. It doesn't happen overnight. So be kind and gentle to yourself right now. This is not an easy road if you took the road of healing, and if you're here, you have. So, because I mean, that's what I invite into my space. I want people who, and it doesn't matter where you're at on your healing journey, I want people who want to take care of themselves and heal, because you fucking deserve it, okay? Even your spirit guide quit, disillusionment, abandonment. Yeah, you definitely felt abandoned by your parents, even if they were present. There's no question about that. Like, and you have an abandonment wound. You might have been in a lot of love relationships. I mean, friendships too, but love relationships keep coming up where the person just ghosted you, or they left you for somebody else, or, you had quite a few relationships that didn't work. Look at all the red flags. Yeah, be careful who you're hanging out with. Like, I feel like you're pretty good at noticing now what doesn't serve you, but you might run into a lot of people that are still trying to teach you a lesson that you didn't learn from your parents, from your childhood, especially from the mother. I really feel that right now. Wow, this was a great reading, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did, because I needed to hear some of that. I feel like you really needed to hear some of that, and you're not alone. Like, that's why we're here. That's why this is a community, because the people that, the readings I do, I invite the people who are supposed to be here intentionally. And, please reach out in the comments, share your story of your experience growing up, or what you felt from this reading, anything. Like, I want to hear it. The community wants to hear it, so we don't feel alone. And thank you for sticking around. Thank you so much for being here. Any likes, shares, comments on my channel, especially subscribers, are appreciated. It really helps me out. I'm trying to monetize my YouTube channel, so I can start bringing in more income. So thank you in advance. If you'd like to donate to my channel, it's not expected but appreciated. I will put my Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal in the comments. If you'd like to book a reading, I will put my booking information in the comments. I do video readings now, and those are a little cheaper than my one-on-one readings, and you can get them within 24 hours. Most likely within 12 though. And then I have a business phone now. I will put my phone number in the comments. If you would rather have a call reading, you can call me up and we can do a reading. Also, if you text me, I will give you one free card. And I hope you all have a good day and that this reading helped you.